Hey people, it's Nias talking. Now I was reading Chancellor Williams' The Destruction of Black Civilization, and I came across this regimento, and I was going to do a piece on that, but it didn't make sense without the greater context, so I'm glad I found this article. So this is from AfricanHeritage.com. Before slavery, African kings, Alfonso the First, king of the Congo. Okay, we cannot. Here we go. Mvemba Nzinga, circa 1461-1543, also known as Alfonso, ruled as Mani Congo, king of Congo from 1506 to 43. He came to power soon after arrival of the first Europeans in 1482. Take a note of that, 1482, that was 10 years before they discovered the Americas. Cao was the first European to visit the Zaire area, hoping to benefit from the power and wealth of the Portuguese. Nzinga Nakubu converted to Christianity and was baptized with the name of the reigning Portuguese king Joao. At the same time, in July 1491, Nzinga Nakubu's son, Mvemba Nzinga, was baptized as Alfonso, the name of the Portuguese prince who was heir to the throne. Now I want to talk about this. Why is it, if you want to convert to Christianity, you have to take a name of a European or some of a foreigner? Why can't you be a Christian, or a Muslim for that matter, and just keep your own name? Well, actually, I understand Islam because the names are supposed to have meaning. That's why you take an Islamic name. But let's talk about Christianity anyway. And this is the beginning of the black inferiority complex. Abandoning names, the beginning of your own identity in favor of foreign ones. No wonder so many Africans are addicted to skin bleaching and all that. Anyway, let's move on. Mani Kawango Nzinga Nakubu quickly returned to his traditional beliefs. One of the causes for this was his attachment to the institution of polygamy, which as king was needed to gain wealth, increase his prestige, and form alliances over political leaders. Also, when early Nzinga had burned traditional religious symbols, he incurred the anger of his people who had begun looking to his unconverted son, Mapanza, and Nzinga as a replacement. Because he was the governor of the Prince of Nasundi, lying across what is now the Zaire River, midway between modern Kinshasa and Matadi, Mvemba was the heir apparent to the office of Mani Congo. In his capital, Mabana Nasundi, he welcomed those priests and the Portuguese agents who had been obliged to leave the Mani Congo capital in about 1495 after the monarch had renounced Christianity. Now, I want to stop right there. I know a lot of you watched Black Panther. Now, do you see this bit? Portuguese agents? A lot of people didn't notice this, but in that film, people told me about it. They kept telling me that he had a CIA agent and these foreign people that he was talking to. Again, foreigners in the court of Africans are always dangerous. Always. I don't care what country they're from. They're always dangerous. And right from the beginning, do you see how that film is programming your mind to accept non-black people into the circles of power to advise them on what to do? And here's the proof. 1492 all the way to 2018, nothing's changed. At least the mindset doesn't change. Anyway, let's move on. He also had traditional objects of art considered by the Portuguese to be diabolical burned. Again, trying to destroy the civilization. Renounce everything that makes you, you, and accept everything that makes them, them. So in turn, you hate yourself and you love them. Destroy the name, destroy the art, destroy the civilization, and in turn, you destroy yourself. Anyway, let's move on. Such destruction, however, greatly displeased many people in his realm. On Nzinga Nakubu's death in 1506, Mvemba Nzinga fought with his brother Mapanzu, the leader of the conservatives who hoped to take power. Victorious in the struggle, the Christian Mvemba Nzinga and his partisans contributed their success to divine intervention. In truth, Mvemba won because of aid from Portuguese weapons. Now, if you know anything from the prince, he says that this is the worst thing. It's better to lose on your own than win with someone else's help, because now you owe them. And in turn, this is exactly what happens. Let's go on. This battle was a landmark in the history of relations between the Kingdom of the Congo and Europe. As king, Mvemba Nzinga worked zealously to convert his kingdom to Christianity. Portugal, which had supported his candidacy against Mapunzu, answered his request for missionaries. Mvemba of Alfonso I, also sought to modernize his kingdom. Perhaps his most notable efforts were in education. By 1516, he had founded schools for both boys and girls in Mabanzo, Congo, renamed San Salvador. He also sent young boys of noble birth to Portugal to study. Again, to any African, please stop sending your children to foreign countries to get educated. Africa gave the world so much. Why do you need to learn from others? One of his sons, Dom Henrique, studied in Portugal and was consecrated a bishop in 1518. Mani Congo Mvemba Nzinga also called on Portuguese masons, carpenters, and joiners to renovate royal architecture. He further solicited the skills of European chemists, doctors, schoolmasters, jurists, and specialists in court protocol. But Mvemba Nzinga's efforts quickly ran into a series of unexpected difficulties. The Portuguese technicians once in Congo worked indifferently and did not follow the instructions of the country's king. The efforts of Christian missionaries did not benefit the kingdom as much as Nzinga had hoped. Finally, the European ships captains traded along the Zaire River without regard to the Congo's commercial laws. Again, if you go to the European country, you must obey the laws or they'll kick you out. Yet here we have the Africans letting in the foreigners and allowing them to conduct however they wanted. And for those who might say, well, they felt they were in need of them. They didn't need them before. Why did they need them now? Mvemba Nzinga asked the King of Portugal, Manuel I, who reigned 1495 to 1521, to send an emissary with special jurisdiction over the Portuguese nationals in the Congo. In consequence, in 1512, Manuel codified a program of Christianization and culturalization of the Congo and sent out an ambassador with a regimento. Hang on, I lost the page. Just give me a sec. Mvemba Nzinga sent an embassy with special jurisdiction over the Portuguese nationals in the Congo. In consequence, in 1512, Manuel codified a program of Christianization and acculturation for the Congo and sent out an ambassador with a regimento, a regulation of systemic statement. Now, I want you to understand this is why Christianity never works for black people. Seriously. All this Christianity was never accepted willingly by African people and in turn used in a way that benefited society. It was given specifically as a way to control and manipulate Africans into the European way of thought. It never came about organically. The regimento, however, failed in its purpose for several reasons. First, the plans for cultural change could not be achieved because they were on such a large scale and because there were comparatively few artisans and missionaries to carry them out. Secondly, most Portuguese were interested mainly in economic gain. First, there was fundamental ambiguity in Portuguese policy towards Africa. Portugal wished to both aid the Congo, but at the same time to exploit it economically. Although claiming to treat the Congo as an equal, Portugal attempted to limit Congo's sovereignty on several levels. Commercially, it refused to restrict Portuguese traders who circumvented the Congo's laws. In the judicial domain, it tolerated illegal activities of the Portuguese living in the Congo. In the religious sphere, it sought to abolish traditional customs. It sounds like the Chinese are doing now with their Chinese newspapers and building roads and naming them after themselves. The Portuguese were not satisfied with gaining commercial and religious dominance in the Congo. They also wished to exploit the precious minerals which they erroneously believed to be abundant as a result of impressions given by the unlucky envoys of Mvemba Nzinga. I remember something not years ago, I remember the Vikings. What they did in Europe to persuade the Vikings not to steal from them is they gave them gifts to bribe them to stay away. But what happened is that the Vikings were so impressed by all the gold and jewels they gave them. They were like, man, if they can give us this, they can give us more. It reminds me of a saying that Ronald Reagan said, it's like you feed the crocodile in order that he will eat you last, but eat you he will. Do not pay anyone to go away. In fact, don't give gifts to foreigners, especially like this, because all it does is give them impressions that there's more to take from your country. The only gifts you should give them is food and a nice room to stay in at your palace, if you are king, if there is a king still in Africa. Both Manuel in 1520 and his successor Joao Frei reigned 1521, 57, and 1530 had received gifts of several silver manacles from Mvemba Nzinga. The Portuguese consequently believed the Congo was filled with mines. Even as much as a century later, the Portuguese were to wage a disastrous war against a king of the Congo, who refused to surrender his mines to them. During the reign of Mvemba Nzinga, the slave trade began ruining the interior of the country, not so much as in demographic terms as on an institutional level. And just going back there, what the Portuguese were doing, it's like this is a universal thing. If it was the Portuguese, the Spaniards, the Belgians, wherever they go on this, they find a material product or an economic resource, and they destroy the country in its pursuit of it. I mean, the Portuguese sent to help and educate and modernize the Congo chose instead to take part in this very profitable activity. The Portuguese of Sao Tome Island, who received a trade monopoly for Central Africa from Portugal, scorned any attempt on the part of the Mane Congo to hold or even regulate the slave trade within his kingdom. Portuguese adventurers in the Congo had close links to Sao Tome. On Easter Sunday, 1539, these adventurers even tried to kill the Mane Congo as he attended Mass. The king barely escaped. In about 1543, Mvemba Nzinga died after a long reign of almost 40 years of failure. He is remembered as an inspired builder and a sincere ruler with great vision. He was nevertheless naive, lacking the decisiveness and political cunning needed to outmaneuver the Portuguese. Some of his actions led to the downfall and ruin of his land. By seizing office through the force of arms, he inaugurated the violent struggles for succession. Wrong, it was not simply through the force of arms, it was the fact that he seized it with the Portuguese' help. Because he did that, he was forever indebted to them and owed them favors. Machiavelli talks about this. I want people to remember this. Read Machiavelli's The Prince. Learn from him, please. He inaugurated the violent struggles for succession which were to divide the Congo during the second half of the 17th century. By revealing the existence of mines in his land, he aroused Portuguese cupidity with disastrous results. Finally, in his numerous campaigns to abolish traditional religion, he destroyed many examples of Congolese art. So, what can we learn? Stop tilling. Do not invite foreigners into your country to help you. They will eventually overthrow you and take the power for themselves. And do not reveal any of your wealth to them, for it will not matter how much you pay them, even if you pay them the tax, they will still want more and more and more. And in an attempt to please them and to get rid of the traditional religion, he destroyed much of what made his kingdom, and his people's history and its culture. Anyway, please comment, rate, and subscribe. If you want to support this channel, I'll leave the PayPal in the description, and I'll leave my Instagram there, and I'll leave some more sources so you can read this. The best source that you could read, a secondary source, is Chancellor Williams' The Destruction of Black Civilization. Peace.